Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by Jim DiPiazza of Area of Expertise. How's it going, Jim?
It's going great. Thanks, Shiv. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
for sure. Thank you so much for being on. And Jim, I would love to just start this off by learning a little bit more about you and a little bit more about area of expertise.
me. Okay, great. So I am a advertising writer by trade. The last 10, 15 years of my career, I was an executive creative director at a handful of different shops. So meaning I led departments, I led huge brands. And a few years ago, I decided that there was a huge opportunity with the number of freelancers out in the world contracting, working directly with brands, really exceptional ones, not the hacks that got fired that can't work. It's really good people who have great track records. And I thought the secret to advertising is that you put a small group of people in the room, they can solve anything. And so I thought, you know what if I built teams to work directly with brands? So a few years ago, created an area of expertise as a full service marketing collective where we work directly with brands, building small, nimble teams to solve challenges.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting way to look at it. Yeah, I think especially as companies grow, their departments get bigger and
Yeah.
bigger. And so it's all of these people trying to solve a problem. And I could see how it would almost become a hindrance. There are that
Right.
many people, that many differing opinions. So yours is really small. That's the focus. It's small groups of experts trying to solve specific problems. Yeah.
Exactly. It's people who've also seen the problems before, so they can bring a lot of that knowledge, or they've solved a problem similar to it for a different category, so they bring that. And it's also, we're not meant to replace an advertising agency or a bigger full service. We're meant to come in and help with those projects where a brand might need help, or a small company that can't afford an ad agency and all of the things that come with it, but really need positioning figured out, or they have a new campaign that needs to launch, or a product, or they have strategy, or they're looking at how to amplify something. So that's where we really shine because we can come in and, like I said, move quickly. The people who are the experts are doing the work. So I like to say it's like generals who like to still fight. So you don't need soldiers. And it just keeps it fun and interesting and collaborative for our clients.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And how do you arrive to that conclusion for yourself that man, like that small teams are the way to go to fix things?
But literally, it was of my career sitting in a conference room where there's 35 people and we're getting briefed. And I'm looking around the room as one of the leaders thinking, it's going to come down to me and her and him and her to solve this. What is everybody else doing in this room?
Right.
And then, so that was one thing. And then the other side of it was once I left sort of full-time agency world and started freelancing, I got asked by a handful of clients, hey, could you solve this for us and put together a team that can do this for me? And I thought, sure. So I'd put together the team, and then it became problematic when it came down to like billing and organization and project management, which I am not good at. And so I thought this seems like an interesting business model where I could build those teams and but have the structure around it where it's not like up to me to figure out how to bill and everything like that. So I brought in a partner, and so she and I run area of expertise, and then we have about 350 people on our roster that we can choose from depending on what the project is and what skill sets are needed.
Wow. And so for any company, I know that the biggest thing is finding and recruiting talent, like that they would
Right.
hire. I know that's always an ongoing thing. There's a lot of B players that think they're A players, but they're really B or C players. And it's just this constant thing. And you guys have such a focus on hiring the best when it comes to freelancers. And they're not even your employees, I would imagine, right? They're
Correct.
contractors.
Yeah.
So with that, like, how do you guys identify and recruit the generals who can execute at such a high level?
It's a great question. Honestly, it started with my initial network and my partner's initial network of people we'd worked with that we really trusted, that we've seen in the trenches. And from there, it's become invite only or through referral only. So occasionally we'll get people out of the blue that say they want to join. Typically, we say no. The people who do join, we get maybe one person every couple weeks nowadays. For a while, it was more than that, but right now it's maybe one every couple weeks where someone will say, I have an amazing writer who just left a company, or I have an amazing project manager who just left a company and they're freelancing, and I think they'd be great for Louis' roster. So that's really how we vet. I don't go into this whole, I've been doing this a long time, so I can smell bullshit on people pretty quick. And I know good people when I meet them, and I can look at their track record and their work to decide. There are other groups out there that might have some sort of proprietary litmus test they give and they test people. I really go, but like you said, I think earlier, it's connections, it's people, it's working with the right people, and the word of mouth, and connecting with really smart people. And I think that through podcasts like this, I meet interesting people. And so for me, it's really comes down to, do you know someone I know that will vouch for you? And can I take a quick look at your track record of either where you've worked or what you've done? And I make a pretty quick decision that way. And then when it comes to building the teams, we get a little more heavily vetting there, where we'll interview a couple of different people, say, does this project feel right for you? I'll get a better sense, even at that moment in time. Is their head in that game? Does it seem like they're really too scattered right now or whatever? So that's when a little bit more of the vetting takes place, is when we actually have a project to put people on.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah,
And
it's cool.
sorry, I'll finish. Is what's also great about really experienced people is they also tell you the truth. So I'll say, hey, I've got this job and it's going to be these three things. And they'll say, the first two I'll nail, the third one I'm not good at. I don't think I'd be a good choice for that, which is great. Everywhere I feel like younger folks, sorry to all the younger folks out there listening, who think they're good at everything, even though they've been doing it for a very short period of time, the people who are more experienced will admit when they think that something's over their head.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing for our clients. It's a great thing for me that we go in and we'll say, nope, this person has done this and this, and they're going to be the right fit and they're fully committed to it. So that's another great part of working with people who are experts and have that experience.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with a lot of people when they're first starting out in their careers, there's this like, there has to be this like, okay, I'm gonna say yes and figure it out later because that's how you gain experience. You know what I mean? And then later down, you get down the road and you're like, okay, now I know what I'm good at, and I'm gonna say yes to the things I'm good at and no to the things that I can't do.
Yeah, and if you're on a project where it's a tight timeline, which everything is these days, right? Everything is tight,
Hmm.
which sucks because it doesn't really allow for, like you said, that kind of experimental and learning as you go. So if I have a client that says, I need this, and in the next 6 weeks, there isn't time to not know what you're doing
Yeah.
and to learn as you go. You might learn some things about the brand, you might learn some things about the project, but you can't learn the skill. You're not gonna have time to try and then fail and then fix and then succeed. You've got to basically in the next 3 days solve it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's another reason why experienced people will do it. But I love work junior people, mid-level people. I've always loved working with them. I love bringing them along. But with the way timelines are these days and the way we work, we just don't have time to nurture when it comes to a project on a fast turnaround. We just need to deliver for our client.
Why is that too? Why have timelines gotten much shorter over the past few years?
I don't know, man. I don't know what happened where there's not enough planning. There like foresight of thinking ahead. I think everything is so performance based. I think digital and the instant gratification of things. But yeah, I don't know why we can't spend 2 months thinking about something anymore, or 6 months, God forbid, where you can really nuance something and come up with something, which I think is it's ultimately going to be difficult. And I don't want to say it's going to be a complete race to the bottom, but it's going to be harder to stand out, and it's going to take exceptional people that will push for good ideas fast. But I don't know why. I know everything is faster, cheaper these days, but I don't know what made faster the goal,
Yeah.
because I frequently joke, we all know summer's coming, so whatever travel, like travel ads, or we all know when the holidays are coming, so we can prepare for that. We all know when the Super Bowl is going to be, so we can prepare for that. So how is it that people just aren't planning for those things, giving
Exactly.
themselves time? And maybe it's because things moved faster because they said we used to take 3 months and spend them and make it up and say $300,000 to do something. So now we have a month, so we should only spend 100 because that's a third. Where maybe you should just try to find somebody that'll do it for 100. What's
Yeah.
your budget, but don't speed up the process.
Yeah. Cool. And I want to change gears here really quick
Sure.
too. What trends in marketing right now do you think are distracting brands from authenticity?
Ask the question again. Sorry.
Sure. What trends in marketing right now do you think are distracting brands from authenticity?
Wow. Authenticity is super, super important for brands because the more there are influencers and AI and digital opportunities, it's harder for audiences to look at brands and say, is that truth?
Yeah.
And so, but I'd say a trend that's making it, wow, that is such a good question, dude. Trends that are making it harder for them to be authentic is, I think it's outsourcing brands that are overly outsourcing their communication. So, meaning they're relying on specifically either influencers, affiliate marketers, junior talent that aren't thinking about the brand in a way that is authentic to who that brand is, and they're more in it for themselves. So if I'm junior mid-level talent, I'm maybe not thinking big picture what's going to help the brand. I'm thinking about what's going to be good for me as whatever talent. And
Yeah.
then the creators are out there just selling anything and everything. Then on top of that, the AI, whether that's AI influencers, which I don't understand. I talked to a company a while back that was going to have AI influencers, and I thought, how are these people saying that they just tried this product or used this thing? They clearly did not. I mean,
Yeah.
at least if it's a human, you're like, maybe they did, but they're just telling me to buy it because they want me to, they're going to make money off of me. But I think it's honestly, it's the influencer and creator economy that is becoming the thing that chips away at the authenticity of a brand more and more. And I think it's brands that another thing that chips away at, or a trend would be not putting the time into coming up with a true brand positioning and ethos that truly reflects who you are and making sure that everything you do, every piece of communication, every activation you do, every place you show up isn't living that truth. That is where that's eroding at. So I don't know if that's necessarily a trend, but I'd say it's the speed that's making
Yeah.
it harder for people to ask, is this helping our brand? Is it hurting our brand?
Yeah. No, that's such a good answer. And I love what you said about influencers and UGC. It's like these things come out and a company will start using them and they'll see success with it. Like UGC, people are still seeing a ton of success with UGC, and everybody will flock to it. But you have to balance that with your own brand voice at some point. It can't just be all influencers, UGC. It can't just be all of that. It's got to be you talking to your customers as well. And I like that. It's like a call for balance almost.
Yeah, for sure. A call for balance is a great way to describe it. It is, you have to ultimately be, you, the brand, have to be the harbinger of your own brand. You can't let, like you said, these creators define who you are because, sure, within that one thing, the creators only exist too because they have something to vibe off of. If they don't have that, if you haven't given that to them, then there's nothing. That's where it becomes critical that that authenticity, that voice is there for your consumers to connect with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, that's a really good way to put that. Jim, this has been so great. Thank you
Oh,
so
great.
much again for being on. Where can people learn more about you and where can people learn more about AOE?
Okay, so for me, both me and Area of Expertise were both on LinkedIn, so you could find us there, but you could find me specifically at jimdipiazza.com, JIMDIPIAZZA. Maybe it'll be down here or up here, I don't know, somewhere. But yeah, jimdipiazza.com and then areaofexpertise.co. Either of those you could find for me if you're interested in chatting with me about anything, that's where you find me. And then Area of Expertise if you're looking for support project teams or just to talk through a challenge.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much again.
Yeah. Thank you, Shiv.